Hello, good evening. Chris Hughes from Rebound on another show of Upstreamedia's YouTube channel. I hope you're all well. In a different room today. Let's say got a good show for you lined up with some good content. So I thought I'd start the show by sort of a shout out really to everyone making content. There's so much discussion on British basketball out there. It's great to have a time where there's a lot of information out there. I think for me and my journey of Rebound, it started out as frustration and lack of content, but there's quite a lot of good debate going on, lots of different channels to watch to. So definitely helping keep people entertained during this period. Um, Today it's just me. I quite like the Monday show to be a singular show where sort of giving an intro what to expect for the week, and also sort of a few things that's going on at Rebound and in the general basketball community. Because I think it's great that we've got stuff out there, but it can be so easy to miss really important stuff. So I thought I'd bring you some of the news. I really want to sort of talk about marketing. I think, especially if there's anyone who's listening who wants to, broaden the horizon of how they think about marketing. We had a really good show here on Friday with Teesside Lions manager director. I just want to quickly want there's no wrong way to market a game. Everyone has different ideas. I'm not saying what you do is wrong, what you do wrong, but sometimes it's quite good to listen to other ideas and maybe see what works for your club, what does. Everyone's different, and marketing to be done at various different levels, from say the governing body right down to independent social media marketing people like myself who just want to see the game grow. I really enjoyed that show. If you haven't watched it already, head to the channel. I think it was Friday show, I think. It was a really good discussion with James. He's a very passionate guy about basketball. Great to hear all things Teesside Lions, and he made a really good point that sorry, one second. That to really entice people to the game, it's about an event, because I think when you go to watch basketball, you don't watch basketball, but if you've got some good event going on, if you've got entertainment, it does a more immersive package that hopefully more and more people enjoy and want to come back to. And for me, I think it's a really good time to reflect on how I market British basketball. So there isn't any British basketball currently to market in terms of actual games, but it's always just to have that time to reflect on how I can do things differently, develop skills, sort of talk and share ideas with other guys out there. And it's been a really good week for me in terms of learning stuff. I'm having the time to speak to guys who are currently doing similar things. And I say it's a difficult time for everyone. I appreciate it. We all have our challenge to go through. If for instance, if you have to adjust to working from home, or not being able to get out of the house because you're that risk person, or just trying to get used to, as we slowly seem to be adjusted back to some sense of normality. In other sports, obviously the German Bundesliga restarted with games, and in later on in the news section, I was talking a bit about what the latest news of basketball, when that will be restarted, so really interesting stuff coming out. And also having the time just to read other websites or watch podcasts, absorb some information and learn from others. I think that's a really great way. We could all be doing something really good, but then there might be someone out there who's doing more. So I really enjoyed watching and listening to all the different content out there, taking notes, reflecting, but also learning lots. So it's been a great time with all things considering. So I sort of talked a bit about some things we've had going well, sharing marketing, having James Thompson come on, and also having people coming on and tell their stories. That's something good for people to learn a bit about, if that's a club we've had on, or player or coach. So there's a lot going on, and I thought it leads quite nicely to what the channel's doing this week, and also maybe what myself doing on the show this week. So as per usual, I'm doing my 5-day week, obviously including today. And I've got some really great shows lined up. I'm really looking forward to talking to these people. and learning more about some of their highlights, some of their club's highlights, and also learn a bit more about one or two franchises themselves. Um, so tomorrow, I've got Bradford Andreas Lykoudis. I'm really interested to hear his story and talk basketball with him. A lot of my shows will be talking about things that relate to their basketball, but I try to make the show a um, bit more sorry, interactive. Also, out things outside of maybe their basketball club. So I'm really looking forward to Andreas. Um, Andreas has been really supportive of this channel, helping us with Q&As and features. I've been looking forward to sort of talking a bit about Bradford Dragons. They've had a really great 2020. I've talked about in the past that Bradford Dragons were one of the teams to beat in 2020. I think they went on a 7-4 run in 2020, which is amazing because it was almost a flip side of form in 2019 in this current season just on. So I'm really looking forward to see what he thought the factors were behind it, bits he enjoyed, highlights, and not only highlights on the court, but highlights behind the scenes, a bit insider knowledge, a bit about stuff that got on in the gym, some on the road, traveling to games. So really looking forward to learning a bit more about what's happened with Bradford this season, his plans for the future. I'm just a big LeBron fan, and I'd love to get his take on what LeBron means to him as a player, but also as a role model, but also talk a bit about stuff that's going topically. So we'll be talking about Last Dance. I don't watch the last episode tonight after this show, so I'm really looking forward to watch. That's a really great thing to watch. Uh, then on Wednesday is my usual day off, but CJ Lee will be on with Prumesh Patel. He is a great guest on this show. CJ also going more depth times to the coach side, his coaching journey, and they're always good shows. I'm looking forward to watching that one. I recommend you guys to watch him as he does his shows. They're really good shows. And then on Thursday, I'm got Essex and Hearts Leopards player Ray Akafuri. I really look forward to talk to him about all things basketball, a bit about his time in NBLD2, British Titans, bit his involvement in the charity 3-on-3 tournament. They did really well on that. He's also one of the key workers, so I'm looking forward to talking to him about how he's managed to how he's adapting with what's going on, and we'll talk all things basketball. So I'm really looking forward to that show. And leading on to Friday, on the back of a really great episode we had with Teesside Lions, I thought it was really great to learn a bit more about other up-and-coming teams and teams doing well. So I'm talking to both the head coaches of the men's, boys and girls Maestroff Academy. So I'm really looking forward to talking to them. Maestroff Boys Academies done really well in Europe in the EYBL. And they've been doing a really great podcast. I've just started listening today. It's really informative. Great stories from the past players, current players, and coaches. But I'm really looking forward to having two head coaches on. Get a bit of an insight about current players, past players, bit about the history, some people may not know, and also maybe their ambitions for this season coming and beyond that. So they do really well in NBL D2 and in Europe, and it'd be great to see what their plans are moving forward. And then that leads me on to the Saturday show, and I'm really looking forward to this guest. He's been a great supporter of the show, giving me some ideas of content and ideas how to improve what we're doing. Coach Cunha, he works with Reading Rockets. I'm really looking forward to looking at sort of a grassroots level. Then it's become about trying to understand the process that it takes to develop a player. Obviously, his experience in Spanish basketball and how the UK basketball improved, but also what we should be celebrating on British basketball. I think quite a lot of time when we talk about where British basketball would go, we sometimes short-sightedly tended to forget the positives. There's a lot of positives going on. Some of it's positive. We chatting about Master of College in terms of in Europe, and also just a bit more insight in grassroots player development. So I'm really looking forward to having Coach Tino on Saturday. And on Sunday's a day of rest for me. I tend to catch up on the shows I've missed and continue developing the Rebound brand. Uh, so before I move on to the news, I thought maybe just give an update what I'm currently doing with Rebound. I mean, you try to use this time as productively as possible. Obviously, some days are obviously easy, and others are guilty of sitting down watching too much TV or eating too much junk food. But when I'm being productive, I'm really trying to make sure I personally do a better job than I did last season in terms of promoting basketball. And one of those ways is developing new skills. I've been doing Photoshop skills and doing sort of graphics to promote the game. There's a lot of inspiration for me to learn from. Obviously, Joe Pinch we mentioned about on Kamesh's show, he's amazing at. He's giving me some great advice and tips. But if you're following on Instagram, there's so much good content out there, and I only want have for that content on British basketball. Now people do it, but also for my own skill set, and also to supplement the content I'm giving to make it a bit more jazzy or a bit more of that NBA wow factor. So I'm learning that. I've got a lot of time to I'm quite pleased with my first attempts, but I think I've got a lot of time to develop it and get up to speed, ready for a new season. So I think when you talk about marketing British basketball, you've got to make it an attractive proposition, and I think that's what I try to do in my skills, make what I'm give the content I get out look the best as possible, make it something that brings a new audience, attracts people with different interests to watch basketball. And one of the things I've seen in the news this week that I thought was really great, and it's something I'm going to try and do for NBL, but if other people do it, go ahead and say, I'm quite busy, but I really like this idea. So I saw on What's Better, they did the destination guide for all the BBL clubs in the PPL. It's a really great breakdown. It's a content I've seen in football where it's like a stadium guide, so you've got where to park, where to have a drink, where to eat food. It's a really good thing, and we will try and get something for that for NBL, because I think the game's slowly building. There's definitely more interest in NBL. That's from coaches going off to BBL, or certain franchises who run a BBL trophy, or an NBL D3 club poaching England GB head coach. So it's definitely interesting in British basketball. It's great to turn that interest into people going to watch the game. So as much as say I love commentating or watching on YouTube, nothing beats being in that seat, watching games, supporting your local club. And I think a lot of clubs do a lot of great events, and so it'd be great to sort of showcase like NBL, D1, D2, D3. So I'm sure a lot of clubs are going to get me messages with details on their stadium / arena information. So I think that'd be really good to try and do something that encourages more people to actually go and watch the games. And a shout out to Ballers Voice for directing me to that news thing. So I hadn't seen it until they mentioned it. So thank you very much, guys. And also some bigger news in the basketball this week. Hughes had Leicester Riders managing direct on the show, and they talked about maybe some of the cases we might see next season in the BBL. One of them was to have an extra American in the squad. So currently there was 3 Americans, now it's only 4. From what I watched the show, watched the podcast, it's not, the place isn't going to be at the expense of a British place, but I think Michael Stone, maybe others, it might take minutes away from those British players who are currently in the squad. I think you should have a massive debate whether that's a good or bad thing. My personal take is the better the squad, the better competition, the more people don't want to watch it. But in terms of a development point of view, I'm not I'm not sure really. I say that's a question maybe for coaches and franchises to discuss. And also, I think the main reason behind it is actually makes it more competitive abroad. Leicester Riders did try going the European competitions, but hopefully more Americans will help make it a bit more successful abroad, and that's something they were discussed on that podcast. And then today, just before I came on air, Basketball England announced a plan for a plan. So they're being proactive in looking to restart next season. So watch that space as they come up with guides. They look at a multifactorial approach in terms of ensuring that the players are fit enough. I think they've posted a workout regime for like a 3-week startup, and information and guides for clubs of how to get from here to start of next season, wherever that will be. So I think this is the next few weeks that we release. So I look forward to seeing that. I'm sure I speak to everyone watching this. We're all missing basketball, but at the same time, we don't want it to be at the cost of safety for players or spectators. It is great when we're seeing like football, the Bundesliga's back, and you've got BT Sport or follow any sort of big media companies on social media. Yes, it's great to see the football going on, but I was watching, I was like, how safe is that for the players involved in terms of social distancing? I saw a lot of them doing their shoulder touch, but I was just touching the hands. I was like, oh gosh, I really hope those players are safe and well, and that no harm comes to them from playing a game that probably soon started because of maybe for I say I can't really comment as these not my powers to be, but it's just hope when we see sport again, it's not a detriment to lives or people's health and well-being. Because I think at the moment it is quite tricky because some of us, we all have different coping mechanisms, or we all, I think with basketball, British basketball especially, the people involved are very sort of passionate and it's a lot of their life. So as much as I'm sure we're all keen to have basketball back, I think it's great to see that basketball are planning to do something that addresses maybe people's concerns and anxieties, but also make sure it's a step-by-step process, which is what so that's what the document I was reading on their website, their press release, seems to suggest. So hopefully we're on the road to recovery and we can start to enjoy basketball. So I'm sure we're all looking forward to watching more basketball. And that's pretty much, there's a lot of stuff on at the moment. There's a lot of podcasts you can listen to, a lot of shows like this one. And I say, if you're new to the channel here, obviously like and subscribe. I'm really grateful to Rupert Charles and the whole of the Upstreamedia guys to give me this opportunity to come on and talk basketball. It's a really great channel. They're doing some really great work. I say it's not just daily shows here, but there's so much more content. The season gone, they will live stream all the Thames Valley Cavaliers D1 games. And I say I'm looking forward to see what they do next season. And I say like subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with everything they're doing. They're doing great work, and I'm honoured to be on the show talking to British basketball, talking to basketball players, coaches, referees. I've learned so much in terms of how I conduct myself on YouTube. I've got lots to learn. I'm not an expert by any means, but I've also learned a lot about the players' stories and history and journey. We've had some great guests on, and I've got lots more guests planned. I said I'm looking forward to Friday, so my first show 2 guests, and we've got 2 great guests, both head coaches and great illustrious careers of British basketball, and British talk to them. And I say all my guests I'm looking forward to. There's lots of great stories, great to chat to people, and I hope you guys are enjoying it because I say I am, and I'm sure CJ and I'm sure Jack High Rollers are, and they all do great shows, really informative, great chats. So we sort of recapped a bit about marketing and some of the good stories on this channel. I thought we also mentioned a bit about what's going to be in Hoops Fix and probably what else we had discussed, and also what's on this week. So I hope that's something to keep you occupied after you finished the Last Dance, or just before you're about to watch the Last Dance. That's been a really great series. I thought I'd finish and sort of talk about other stuff I've watched or listened to. For whatever reason, hasn't got as much followers or views I think it may or may not deserve. And it's not just British basketball, because I think we all have an eclectic range of interests. It doesn't always have to be British basketball. I mean, for me, I think my journey is quite unique. I sort of stumbled into basketball as a for a recommendation from a friend to watch some NBL. I think it was D2 in a sports hall, and I caught the bug, loved it. Then obviously from doing this and doing rebound, my interest diversified, not just about NBL, but BBL, WBL, international, grassroots, and pretty much anything basketball. It's such a great sport, such entertainment value, and I just love chatting about it. Hence why I'm on this show with you guys. But from doing rebound and being on this show, I do make a real conscious effort to try and watch as much or listen to as much different stuff for many reasons. For personal reasons, just to have something on, or for research, or to learn something. A lot of shows, they're all different. I think if we want British basketball to really grow, we need lots of diverse content. I really loved on Twitter this BBL Insider. Maybe not my cup of tea to be sort of that private eye detective spinning all the beans on all the gossip, maybe more of a negative spin. But I think it's really great because I say as human beings, we're all different, all unique, we all have unique interests. And I think if we want to really attract new people to British basketball, we've got to be aware of that, because I think if we all follow the same model or we all do the same thing, we're all going to be in the same boat. And I think I love seeing things differently. And I think one of the things I've really enjoyed, and it's something I'd love to do one day in terms of digital content, is part of the Bleacher Report. So they're sort of a big brand. I probably don't need much introductions. They're quite a big name in terms of basketball and sport in general, because they branch across other sports, which I think is a really great idea. And it's a show they do on there that I really like. It's sort of diverse, combines two of my passion interests of Game of Thrones and NBA, and it's Game of Thrones. It's a animated short, and it basically sort of summarize all the ins and outs of gossip or funny stories you hear or myths, and it's a really good light-hearted series. At the moment, it's sort of following the Jordan Last Dance, but also in the sort of the structure of Game of Thrones. So you've got like different franchise episodes, different house of Game of Thrones, and it's really good. I find it's quite light-hearted, especially if I've been working or doing quite a lot of British basketball. I kind of just want a little bit break from it, because I probably worked a bit too hard on it, and it's really nice to have something light-hearted and humorous to watch. And I would love someone who has that, forgot the words, not sense of humour, but it's quite a funny person to have that sort of talent. I think that's what was quite good about the BB Outside. It was something different. It caught a lot of attention, a lot of interaction, a lot of people's interest, and I think that's good. When you have something fresh and new, it challenges us to think about what we're doing, how we develop it within our own structure of what we want to do. So that's what I really enjoyed watching. I'm surprised it hasn't sort of hit more views than it has, even though it still hit a considerably high amount of views. But and obviously, I talked about before about on our official Rebound website, I put links to anything British basketball related. So, in the idea that we can learn from each other, watch different shows. So head to the Rebound site and obviously watch some stuff. Obviously watch stuff on here first. It's really great content. Sort of selfish plug there. But yeah, so there's a lot out there, and it's great to sort of watch them stuff, get ideas, learn, develop, but also hear other people talking basketball. For me, I think it's really great. So when I started Rebound, it was kind of born out of frustration because there wasn't much out there. But only today, I was just like watching I've never seen before. It wasn't a new thing. It's just that with all the stuff I've got on, sometimes things slip through. I don't get to watch them all. So there's always great content out there. It's just about finding what interests you and listening to it and sharing your ideas. If anyone has any ideas of what they'd like me to cover or people they'd like me to interview, just get in contact. I'm always open to feedback or suggestions of what you'd like to see. To say if you like to see it, then I'm sure more other people would too. And that's why we're here to sort of promote basketball, but also to give the content that people want to see. And I think a lot of people they get into social media like what I'm doing with rebounds because they want content out that they'd like to see. But also I think I'm always quite mindful of making sure I get stuff that people would like to see. So we'll see. So that was kind of everything I had planned for today. And I really hope you're well. So me personally, I definitely appreciate that the longer it gets on, that sometimes challenge stresses can seem more. So I really hope you're well, um, and recommend keep talking to your family, friends. Um, Obviously, try not to be too hard on yourself because I say we all have days where we're not as productive. But keep faith that it will be okay. We will get back to how things were, and also try to use this time you can to keep yourself busy. But obviously, if you're struggling, it's okay. You can have bad days, just but make sure we bounce back. So I really hope you're well. I'm sure there's people that connect with at the Kestrels. I can't wait to see you guys next season, but also just can't wait to watch basketball next season. I think I really look forward to that. I know keep an eye on this Basketball England's plan for reintroducing basketball. If you're a player or coach, they've asked you to contact them if you had ideas as well. So definitely have a look and read that if you have. It's on their, I think, Basketball England website. Um, Give some sort of advice how to operate within the government's advice currently of social distancing, and they're sort of the advice a little bit lenient, but maybe it was a few weeks ago. So I hope you have a lovely Monday evening. Thanks for tuning in. I really look forward to this week's shows, and hope you stay well, stay safe, and I'll see you tomorrow evening. Goodbye from me, and take care.